This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
The world was surprised, but I'll bet you weren't. This is Wretched Radio.
Todd, do you hear that?
The crackling, fiery sound? Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that? No, what is that?
Well, that would be my face. It's on fire.
Oh.
Thank you, Southern Sun. And thank you, foolish man, for not listening to your wife when she said you should probably put some sunblock on before you go to the campus all day. It's going to be our first sunny day in 8 years. So did he listen? No. And now we all have to endure that fiery sound because I'm ablaze. Man, my face is hot. Am I whining?
Well, I mean, I couldn't hear you over your face.
You want to know what you're actually hearing?
What's that?
I don't understand this. I guess people who love fireplaces but don't have one. The title of this video is 12 Hours of Relaxing Fireplace Sounds.
12 hours.
12 hours, and it has 12.2 million views since December of 2008. So apparently, people love this sound. And I'm looking at the fire. It's mesmerizing. I can almost smell it.
Can you watch it for 12 hours?
No, but I'll tell you, here, let's do this. I had it queued up to 44 minutes. Let's listen to it at 2 hours and 23 minutes. Let's see what this is. Oh, see, the fire is going down in its intensity.
Oh.
Let's jump to 4 hours. See, it's going down. I got to tell you, what kind of logs do they have? They haven't changed the logs, and you're now 8 hours into this thing, and it's still burning. I want to get this wood. I want this kind of fire in my fireplace, which I actually don't have. It's not that it's a sour issue between me and Mrs. Friel that she wants a gas fireplace and I want a wood-burning fireplace. We've worked through it. We had mediation, but we did work through the issue. Perhaps you were surprised, perhaps not, at the announcement that Coca-Cola is Woca-Cola. By the way, do you want me to turn my face off? Should I put an end to this?
It would be nice.
All righty then. Coca-Cola, lady, because they are doing training to help white people be less white. Coca-Cola sort of denying it regardless. This is a systemic racial issue because corporations all over the country are going about the business of doing what Coca-Cola is reported as doing, and that is to do sensitivity training for white people. Now, not only is this something that we need to become familiar with and frankly start getting used to, but this is just something that is unworkable. If you apply what supposedly, and it seems like they are, that Coke is doing, white people, boy, doesn't this just, this racial division just, are to be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain. That's my favorite. So the next time that you get a Coca-Cola and it only has about 9 ounces, hey, don't worry about it. The person running the can fulfillment plant wasn't certain what 12 ounces looked like. Didn't want to be certain about, didn't know about signing that contract, that agreement for transportation. They want their employees to be less certain. Hey, that's a good way to run a business, isn't it? Here's the rest of the list. Be less defensive, less arrogant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. The world heard this, and they're staggered. If you've listened to this program perhaps more than once, which frankly we haven't found anybody who has, nevertheless, there is a reason that we have been on about critical race theory. Not only is it the mechanism, the philosophy that is being used to dismantle our country, it is making its way into the church. And like the camel who gets its nose under the tent, it does not satisfy itself with just sniffing what's in there. It forces the rest of its body in. And we have seen this over and over and over again. And the modus operandi that I think is almost, if not always used, is the one that we are seeing today with critical race theory. If you have studied the issue at all, if this has happened at your workplace, which it probably has, frankly, or it won't be long, especially if you work for a big corporation or a hospital system, heard from somebody in Ontario, they're doing the very same thing that Coca-Cola is doing. get these emails regularly from people. They're teaching this in my company. Yeah, they are, because it is indeed systemic. If anything is systemic, critical race theory is systemic. And they get it in under the guise of having a conversation. They want to talk about the issues. They want to be able to have the hard conversations. Have you heard those phrases used? And if you haven't, regarding critical theory, you certainly have in the church. Let me take you back to the early 60s, even the late 50s. The liberal synods of the Lutheran Church started having conversations about the role of women. The next thing you know, they're ordaining them. The next thing you know, that they're affirming homosexuality and having gay marriages. And it all started with, we're just going to have a conversation. Or its cousin, we're just going to do a study on the issue. We just want to start talking about it. Why do they do that? Because it works. It always works. And that is the lingo that is always used to get the ball rolling, to get the camel's nose under the tent. But then they shove both humps into the body. And that is what we are going to see, and we are already seeing inside of the Christian church. And so if you read this stuff about Coca-Cola and you go, wait, what? This is what will be taught in your church if critical theory is affirmed as a helpful analytical tool. Be less oppressive, less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive. In other words, just don't try to defend yourself. Because, by the way, if you do, it just means that you're actually more racist than you even know that you are. It's a do you still beat your wife sort of strategy. And this is what you're going to get. Be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. You have been trained since a child to be racist. The study shows, according to the people who are training Coca-Cola people, that by the age of 3 or 4, it is just burned right into your brain that white people are better than everybody else. Did you know that about yourself, white person? This is so Gnostic, it's so unwinnable, and it's so not Christian. And it's so not helpful. And it is so pervasive, and it is so making its way into the church. Do I have proof of that? I certainly do. The Council for Christian Colleges and Universities, that would be your CCCU, launched a website February 2021. Well, that seems plenty current now, doesn't it? Featuring a database of racial and ethnic diversity resources for the Christian higher education community and other interested readers. You can visit the website yourself. They claim to be middle of the road. You know why? The resources featured on this website are intended to assist institutional leaders at Christian colleges and universities in facilitating learning and leading conversations. There it is. Let's get the camel's nose into the Christian university tent, and we'll just have conversations. By the way, the books, even though they claim, hey, we show a representation of all sides, looked to me like it was a whole lot of really aggressive social justice books that are being promoted. So then I decided to take a look at the number of universities that the CCCU serves. This is the Council for Christian Colleges and Universities. Now note, they just started this particular site, this particular resource. The CCCU has had relationships with hundreds of Christian universities and colleges for years. Now they're providing this resource so that we can start having a conversation. And I started looking through the list, and it's not all liberal wackadoodle universities. It's like some really sound Christian universities, some really conservative Christian schools. Now, please note, the Christian school does not affirm what the CCCU did. That's reversing the order here. The CCCU is bringing in these resources to get them into the universities under the guise of having a conversation. And that is precisely how it begins. Resources in the database include books. Yeah, they do. It's the books that are the most troubling to us as we study the social justice, the most radical Christian books, TED Talks, webinars, articles from prominent news websites like CNN, Forbes, works by Pastor Tim Keller, a video about race in America hosted by Veggie Tales. Now, this is one more demonstration that all of our prattling here at Wretched Radio about critical theory is not nearly as much about what is going on in culture or with Coca-Cola. It is studying it to identify it so that when it comes knocking on your church's door, if it hasn't already, you will be aware of it and you will be able to sniff it out and warn your pastor, your elders, because it will not stop with conversations. It seeks total submission. Give up every single thing that you hold dear, that you value as a church. It all has to go because it is all inherently racist. So if you love your local church, you love what you do on Sunday morning, you better not be loving the critical race theory. This is Wretched Radio.
Hello, Maria. This is Todd Friel from your auto insurance company, noticing you're not taking advantage of any of our life insurance policies. Really? Really, you're not afraid to die? That's funny. Listen to this clip from Paul Washer.
I'm talking about you.
So what do you think of that, Maria?